In this episode, we're recapping our quick car camping stay at Fort Wilderness, as well as diving into some delicious dining, from Crockett's Tavern in Geo 82 to Geyser Point and breakfast with a view at Topolino's Terrace. Today is June 10th, 2025, and this is episode 779 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
Well, next time we camp at Fort Wilderness, I say bring bug spray.
That'll be our do as we say, not as we do.
Oh my God. I'm still itching. Like, I didn't sleep very well last night. I was not restful because my bites all over me.
Which is surprising, honestly, because, you know, we'll talk a little bit about Fort Wilderness. We've probably stayed here more than any other property. On property, right?
Yeah,
I would say.
I think so.
We've done it every possible way, from tent camping to now car camping, everything in between, from renting all sizes of campers to owning our own pop-up to cabins to in August going to actually do the DVC cabins. And
which again, you still need bug spray though. Like,
right,
it's
but
not
normally the bugs
Disney
are not out
right.
the way that they are because of how well they treat for mosquitoes and all of that. So this weekend was kind of surprising, I think, as far as the amount of bugs that we encountered and the ones that were feasting, we shall say.
Oh, there was a lot of animals. We saw.
There were a lot of animals.
We saw squirrel, bunnies. We did not see any deer.
No,
which was
first
sad.
time. Yeah, surprising.
We didn't see a turkey, which is also surprising. But they have these lizards there now that look like. It truly looks like it was a home lizard of some sort, like
a domesticated pet lizard.
Kind of, but a different. And then they let it out, and then it just they've multiplied, and they look like little, almost dinosaurs.
Little iguanas.
It's
we've
crazy.
Never, and again, we've stayed here dozens of times.
Yeah.
We've never seen these little dinosaurs before.
Mm-hmm. And
Plenty of other geckos and lizards and stuff.
And then, unfortunately, a snake as well, but black. Thank God.
Yeah.
Just straight black racer.
Yeah, which out of the dozens of times we've ever stayed here, that's only the second time we've seen one.
When was the first time? I don't remember.
We were coming back from Pioneer Hall, walking, girls. It was nighttime, and there was one near one of the paths, just making his way off. But yeah, this one was just, hanging out at the end of our campground.
Well, and to be fair, you were going through a campsite that nobody was at to take a shortcut.
Yes, I was. But I still don't think, this wasn't like a troll under the bridge scenario. I don't think he was guarding anything. But there was a nice kid, his family from Mississippi that were across the street from us that he witnessed, both Rhonda and I, coming across our friend that we did not care for. And so he was nice enough when we were gone later on a golf cart ride. He removed it from our site and relocated it somewhere else, which was very nice. But, we do this car camping thing. And the main reason we do is because it's an experience. we're not doing this to say, hey, you should do it, or
it's not, it's not for the faint of heart.
Right. Well, like, it's easy, and we videoed. I'm going to try and start doing some like once a month, like long form YouTube style videos. So we recorded a bunch of stuff this weekend, and it'd be real easy for the title or something of that video or the title of this podcast to be, I stayed on Disney property for under $100 a night, or, you can sleep on your car on Disney like
right.
These things that are partial truths, but not completely. Was the campsite basically like $88 a night? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that significantly cheaper than probably even some All-Stars, which you can now sometimes on like an AP rate get in the 130. So maybe it's $50 less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Can you pitch a tent on this site? Can you sleep there? Can you do all of that and stay on Disney property for under $100 a night? Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Should you? Probably
not. No. Not for everybody.
Because here's the other thing. I'd be a hypocrite if I said all the time, about off properties,
mm-hmm.
right? And go, oh yeah, well, I can stay off property for $100 a night. Okay, well yeah, but then there's a $30 parking fee. There's
right.
a $30 resort fee. You're at $160 a night. We
right.
could have stayed at All-Star for $150.
Right.
This is the exact same math. I think if you stay at Fort Wilderness, regardless of how you stay, you should have a golf cart.
Right.
So that $90 a night that we just spent now adds $70 a night for a golf cart, and we're at $160 a night. We could have stayed cheaper at an All-Star.
Yeah.
So again, we're not doing this to try and be like, hey, we found some crazy Disney hack where you and your family of 6 can stay at Disney for $600 a week. No, we're not pulling that. What this is for, whether I think a lot of times, whether it is camping in your own camper,
mm-hmm.
whether it's renting a camper from one of the approved camper, rental companies that Disney allows now,
mm-hmm.
Whether it is doing a tent or something like that.
Or a cabin.
This is usually mostly for the experience of it. It's not at a cost savings.
Right.
Sometimes it can be.
Yep.
If you do own your own camper and you own your own golf cart.
Right.
And you bring those in and you pay $100 a night. Yes, that is a big cost savings.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people, I don't think it's like that. So there isn't that savings. This is an experience. This is something that is just fun to do.
Yep.
So with all that being said, I mean, are there any additional thoughts you just want to add about Fort Wilderness or doing this? I mean, we've talked about Fort Wilderness so much in the past. We'll talk about it a ton in August because we're doing a DVC cabin with the kids and some friends and boyfriends and stuff for 3 nights. So we'll talk a lot more about the nitty gritty of Fort Wilderness again then. But is there anything else you wanted to add?
Besides getting
Besides making sure that we have proper bug spray and that we're using it. And yeah, we either need to figure out a little bit better interior cooling system or not go in the summer months.
So it did say that it was getting down to 74, which was good because, I mean, I keep my house at 72 and some people think that's still too cold. I hear a lot of people keep their house at 75. I think the problem with ours is it's when we're outside and it's 74 with humidity.
Yeah.
And a lot of it.
It's just so different.
And it is. And it was warm. It was pretty warm. Like that's I think that's my top where I'm like, okay, I'm done now. Like when we did it for July, shockingly the lows were still this low. Like these are the lowest lows that I'm like, all right, I'm done now after we did it. Like I'm not going back until car camp like that until like September, like November-ish or December.
Yeah. I can see that.
Because it's not only so hot, but like yesterday, Jeremy was like, do you want to go to the pool? And I'm like, I don't want to be outside. And that's the hard part because except for going to a place to eat with air condition, except for getting into a queue on the inside, even riding around on the golf cart, it's cool and nice, but it's still not inside. So you're literally outside.
Yeah, there's never a break from it.
Right.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not even as much, and not that we're sitting here with, X number of listeners and 90% of them are like, oh, I need to learn more about camping in my car. What are the proper months? We're just, again, it's the smallest percentage in the world. They're even thinking of this, I'm sure. But yeah, it's not even the part of sleeping at night as much as it is, and that certainly is a part of it, but it gets cool enough at night. And with the fan inside and the way we have the setup, it gets cool enough.
Yes, it does.
But it is that, like you're saying, it's nighttime, it's daytime, it's all the time.
Right.
Even when you come back from the pool, you get dressed, just say, in the comfort station. As soon as you get back to the site and you sit down, you're hot and sweaty again. And there's just no break from it.
Correct.
Now, when we get to go in the cooler months, we'll do that again, and it's much easier to do.
And it's funner.
Yeah. And the other thing with this weekend that we went is, my idea for this weekend and doing these 2 nights was, this was going to be a staycation in the sense that we were going to spend a bunch of time by the pool. We were going to do things at the campground. We were going to, what ended up happening is, once we had this all booked, ready to go, Disney announced that Unfairly Ever After villain show was coming out a week before. They announced that The Little Mermaid was coming out, a musical adventure a week before. Then Geo 82 is going to open while we're there. So all of a sudden, what turned into let's enjoy the campground, let's have a golf cart, let's drive around and loop and do scavenger hunts all day, let's spend hours by the pool, let's do Fort Wilderness, it turned into being sometimes more of a hassle than the time that we were going to spend enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like when we were checking out yesterday morning and I'm driving the golf cart back to drop off, I'm like, dang, I feel like we barely used this because we ended up having to spend some time in the parks and all of that. So just the things to think about, but we love Fort Wilderness. Cannot wait till August and when you can have some reprieve from the heat. And we'll have a very different experience then.
100%.
And we'll come back, I'm sure, saying, rent a cabin in the summer. Don't tent camp or sleep in your car. But if that's something that interests you, come the cooler months, that might be something you want to look at doing.
100%. And then, but still, I think I'm going to make sure we all have lots of bug spray.
In August, 100%.
So.
We will. So let's move on to food because that's what the rest of this is going to be about, is dining. And comes down to that evening. One of the things I want to do when we do this car camping is go ahead and bring some food or do vacation grocery delivery and cook at the site, and grill and do some charcoal and stuff. But weren't going to do it this time. So that Thursday evening, we had to decide on something to eat, what we wanted to do. And
we wanted to stay around the campground.
Yeah, we want to stay around the campground. I remember we had pizza rizzo for a late lunch.
Yep.
So we didn't really want some big sit-down meal, but we didn't want to leave the campground. So where do we head to?
Crockett's Tavern.
Yeah.
And this runs from 3 to 10 p.m. Note to self, if you want to go in there and get either... if you've got the refillable mug and you want to go in there, it does close at 10.
Yeah. After 10. If you're getting back from a park after 10 and you want to even step in foot, and that's all Trails End. Now Trails End will be open breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Crockett's portion opens at 3 p.m., but even Trails End closes at 10 p.m., which we found out Saturday night, which was kind of surprising.
Because Jeremy wanted ice cream.
Yeah. But there is a different... there's Trails End, which is now your grab and go and quick service. There's everything from fried chicken to
which is good.
Sandwiches. It is good, and fries to grab and go sandwiches to pizzas, all your type of stuff like that. But then Crockett's Tavern now is those 6 seats at the bar, as well as that. If you've ever been in there, that lower level lounge area is all now part of Crockett's Tavern, which is super cool.
It is.
We decided to sit at the bar, or I decided to, I should say.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, which is fine. Victor, the bartender, we'd been there before. Nice guy from New York. If you want a lot of interaction, if you want to sit, have a bartender, chat, Victor's the guy to go to. And it ended up filling up. We sat at the bar, and there were 2 seats in between us and another couple, but it did fill up.
It did.
All right, so we've eaten here before. We kind of knew what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
There's some items that we wanted to get again because we liked them in the past. Something new we actually hadn't had. Let's start off with what I think you wanted kind of most. You really wanted some chicken tenders.
I wanted
originally,
some chicken tenders,
which we could have done at Trail's End.
And that's what we were thinking. But then we went and looked, and we're like, oh, the crispy cauliflower. I forgot about that. And then I was like, and technically they have the chicken bites, so I thought we could do that. So we got it. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish I'd have just gotten some fried chicken.
Yeah.
At Crockett's Tavern. Not Crockett's Tavern, Trail's End. But it's fine. It's fine.
So these, though, before we've had these, were fried chicken bites. They were smaller bites, pieces of chicken breast, like hand breaded and fried, that were different than other locations that do these types of things. They weren't the standard tenders. But then what we got this night was like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
It wasn't the standard tenders, but it wasn't the bites from before.
They were longer, though, because you had to cut them in half.
And flat. They were definitely pre-frozen, but not the good Disney chicken tender frozen. Like the buffalo flavor was great. The fries were good, but they weren't what we had before.
And they had they were served with blue cheese and ranch, and that was good.
Now, those two tasted house-made, and they were delicious.
It did feel house-made.
But I feel like this is one now where more than ever, I want to go back down here in August and get these chicken bites and see what they look like. Because the last 2 times we've had them, they've been 2 different things. And I want to know in the future, if we're going to tell people whether to get them or not, what are we actually telling them? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I don't know which one it is at the moment.
Right. And I would right now at the moment say, go ahead and spend your money and get the either the small fried chicken, because I think you can get like a half a fried chicken. You can get fried chicken or tenders from Trail's End.
Trail's End. I would do that.
Yeah.
What did we get there that's new that we had not had before?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the crispy cauliflower.
Okay, because we
got
done
that as well
in the past a couple
times. And it is with the garlic aioli for $9. And the chicken bites, by the way, were $15, and they come with fries. So it's not, that can be almost like a little meal.
It's a meal. It's 100% a plate.
Yeah.
It's a plate of food that you would get as a meal.
It's like a kid's meal,
As a kid's meal.
Yep.
Or honestly, there were enough chicken tenders on there, even though they weren't the big Disney ones, for an adult meal at a quick service in park.
Yeah.
So the $15 is pretty on point for an adult meal of what ended up being about 4 small chicken tenders and a big plate of fries.
Yeah.
So, not too bad there. But crispy cauliflower, $9.
Yeah, so usually this is really good. This is cauliflower breaded and then fried, and then a garlic aioli. I don't know what happened. It didn't taste burnt, because I am like a weirdo with that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is burnt. It just, I don't know.
Something was different about it.
Something
was
different, right?
So
and it
the
wasn't
chicken bites,
wonderful,
right? Yeah, because normally we love it.
Yes,
something was different, and I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah,
but I didn't love it.
Right.
The chicken bites did what they're supposed to do, but
chicken bites are right.
Love them compared to the ones we had before.
Right.
So we had one more item.
I just started to say, but something we did have was really good, which was a charcuterie board for $21. So this is a selections of meats and cheeses with house-made bread and butter pickles, tomato jam, and cornbread crostini. I should have asked for the pickles on the side, because, they just kind of
just plop them
right in the middle with juice and everything. So immediately I tried to take them off after Jeremy took a picture and soak up the stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
But they were truly house-made, because they weren't real pickly. I think you would have been okay with them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, this was a good charcuterie.
It was really
overall.
good.
I mean,
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it had the good meats with it, had the good cheeses. This is the one. Because I'm going to get it confused, because then we had another charcuterie the next day, and then we
the other one was the
had
best.
Another charcuterie. Yeah, but is this the one that had the whipped goat cheese that looked like almost like the top of like an ice cream cone?
Maybe, because then it also had the pork.
Yeah. So this was good. I really enjoyed. Oh, the tomato. It says the tomato jam was like the pan con tomate that you get over at Coronado Springs, like at Three Bridges, Toledo, Kronos Club. And then it had these little Mickey head shaped crostinis with it.
Yeah.
And that was delicious together.
Yes, it was.
Then there was this item that, so it's like, if you've not been in here, it's lighting of like more of a dim wooden bar, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit darker and all in there. And up on the top right corner of this thing, I mean, I'll be honest, it looked like a dead wet rat.
I was wondering how
Laying on
honest you were gonna be, and then or a squirrel,
It looked
because
like
you see a ton of squirrels around, and then when you flipped it over, even it looked like
it
an
didn't really
animal.
look any better. And so I'm like, what on earth is this?
And then I tasted it.
Because that's the thing, selection of meats and cheeses. That's all it says. It doesn't tell you exactly, well, here's the meats, here's the cheeses, here's the whatever.
And I was like, Jeremy,
so you
should
tasted
taste it before research purposes. And
Right.
you were so hesitant.
I did taste
but
it.
you tasted it.
You know what it reminded me of? That disgusting pork. He said it was pork confit.
Okay.
Is what Victor
Yes,
said.
because you
right?
ended up asking. You were
I
like,
did ask.
what
I'm like,
is that?
What is it? What are we eating here?
And you were like, it was not
It did not look
visually
very
appetizing.
appetizing. And he's like, I agree with you. It tasted like that cat food they tried to pass off for pork confit at the France food booth however many years ago.
In a cat
Remember that
can.
one? They served it in a clear cat can, cat food can. At least they didn't do that with this, but it's just not good. The texture, it is like overly processed, shredded pork that has been sitting in that congealed fat.
Yeah.
And then you just eat it because it's not reheated.
Some people do. Yeah, it's cold.
Right. Because if you've ever made pulled pork, you're going to have leftovers, first of all. Mm-hmm. It makes enough to feed 1 billion people, regardless of what size like pork butt you get. But you pack it tight in a Tupperware container. You don't want to get a second Tupperware, so you just force it in there.
Okay.
And you got to shove all that pulled pork in there. It's got the juices, the fat, everything. You put the lid on it. The next day you open it, and all that fat has like congealed in with the pork. And you could literally dump it out
into a square.
Yeah. Whatever shape your Tupperware was, you could dump that out on top. And you don't throw it in the microwave to heat it and add barbecue sauce or make a sandwich out of it. You just eat it straight like that. That's what this is. And in my opinion, that's gross. So I didn't like this. But the rest of the board was outstanding.
Yeah, it was.
So at least that was a hit. Again, when we go back in August, I want to go back and get the cauliflower butt. Like, I remember them having that aioli, but also being tossed themselves in something.
I don't think they
Not
were.
necessarily a buffalo, but something. I don't know.
think they were.
Okay. I'll have to go
back to try to find
and
pictures.
look at photos from the last time we went.
But they were browner. They were a lot darker, and they weren't, like I said, they didn't taste
It didn't have a burnt flavor, but it had a flavor like something was cooked improperly.
I think it was like, I don't know if it's the situation of like when the oil gets too hot. Mm-hmm. And then it cooks the outside quicker than it cooks the inside, but it doesn't still taste burnt.
Oh, yeah. No, it's kind of like that.
You see what I'm saying?
Bitter.
Yeah.
I guess is almost what the flavor that it had.
But anyways.
Yeah. So around all this time, there was some threats of some storms, some thunderstorms. So we're not 100% sure what happened that evening as far as like campfire sing-along and the campfire and the movie Under the Stars. We didn't bother going to check because there was some rain. We could see lightning, so we figured they're probably closing it down.
Yep.
Plus, we wanted to get a good night's sleep because we had a very big morning the next day, which I will let Rhonda take.
Why me?
Here. I'm going to sit in my seat over here, and I'm going to be quiet, and then I will interject if I feel there is a need to interject or tell my side of what transpired next.
Okay.
So why did we get to sleep a little bit early? Rhonda, take it over.
Well, the next morning, we had the tour over at Animal Kingdom Caring for Giants, which is the elephant up close and personal tour. Jeremy does everything, and I don't ever really look at things or try to pay attention because he does it all and he tells me what I'm doing, and which is fine. And he, this is one of the things that he was like, do you want to know? And I was like, I think I want to know because it was going to be a surprise. He was like, I think I want to know so I can wear clothes, like proper clothes and pick them out
Yeah, you had to
myself.
wear them either way. No
Well,
matter what the tour was at Disney World, clothes were not optional.
I'm saying, like, I wanted to pick them out. If I needed a dress, I
Yeah.
wanted to pick the dress. If
Yeah.
I needed, so anyways, so Jeremy kept saying it's at 10 o'clock. And who am I to think it would be different? So
Who is anybody to think it would be any different?
well, I don't know where you got the 10 o'clock from, but
From the time that I reserved in my brain.
Okay. Well, anyways, so the next morning I knew we'd wake up early for one because of
We were
the
sleeping
sun.
in a car.
And we're sleeping in a car.
Yes, yeah. Early wake, there is no rooster needed.
No.
No alarms.
Correct.
Shan't be set.
So we were getting ready and, I'm putting makeup on and, we're just kind of actually just, slowly taking our time.
Well, we got till 10. I mean, the tour's not till 10.
Right. So we, again, Jeremy doesn't look at his phone or anything for this specific thing. He looks at his phone all day long. Like, there's 24 hours in a day and he's only sleeping 4 of them hours.
I've gotten
He's
better.
looking at him at 20
I'm
hours.
getting
I'm just
better.
kidding. Anyway, so, so obviously where we're getting to is we go up front, we ride the golf cart up front, we get up there and the bus is supposed to come. And while he's standing
First
there.
of all, best bus luck all weekend long anybody's ever had. Every time we arrived to a bus stop, the bus that we needed was arriving as well or was there. Just wanted to throw that out there.
But the first bus we were waiting for Animal Kingdom was taking a couple of minutes. So while it was taking a couple of minutes, Jeremy actually was standing and I guess happens to pull up the reservation.
Well, I wanted to see exactly where we needed to meet for our 10 o'clock tour.
Which then he says...
This was 8:46.
Yes.
There's a reason I know the time exactly.
Because he says, crap.
An hour and 14 minutes until our tour.
And I'm like, what? And he goes, it's at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And by the time the bus got there, it was 8:50. And I was like, there's no way on God's green earth that we're going to get to Animal Kingdom by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now, it was the fastest that we've ever gotten to Animal Kingdom
Oh, my
because we were at
goodness,
Fort
yeah.
Wilderness. Now, mind you, when you're at Fort Wilderness, you're pretty much at Magic Kingdom. So you are the furthest from trying to get to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think even Springs is possibly closer, but the point is that we got there and then we went straight to the guest services. There wasn't somebody that could take us, so we stood there for just a few minutes, and then he said, honestly, it'd probably be better if you just walk back there. So then we start the trek of walking all the way back to basically
It's right
there.
outside of Kilimanjaro
Yep,
on the
right,
left
yep.
next to the face painting.
Yep.
Is the big tour booth.
So they were going over, I think, a tour that was about to happen or start because I thought they were in line and I just kind of politely and in a best way possible pushed my way straight to this guy, this cast member. That I'm not going to lie, I was very, very shocked because he was not like the nicest and trying to be accommodating.
Yeah, it wasn't what we had come to expect.
Yeah.
I guess you will say. And first going back to defend myself. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I don't know why I had 10 o'clock in my brain, why it was 9. There are tours that happen pretty much all throughout the day. And so, yeah. So anyway, I've been
all
trying.
on the hour, like Mark, like 9, 10,
I think so.
11.
I think they are. Yeah, because when I was looking at other days, I know there was one that showed up at 9, one at 2. And I kept looking at multiple days, and so I'm guessing at some point, again, it was just in my brain. I swore I looked earlier this week, and I swore that I saw 10. And one of the things I've been trying to do better, I guess, as I continue to try and improve myself, is not let those things stress me out and be so anxious about things like that. I'm the type growing up, you go into a concert or something like that when you had physical tickets and they're in my front pocket. My hand is probably not leaving my front pocket the entire time from when we leave my house till we are handing them to the person at the concert, and I'm pulling them out of my pocket to look at them multiple times. Like I'm just that way. And it's stressful. So I'm trying not to be that way. Look where that got me. So, I think being so OCD and constantly checking those times would have worked better. But anyway, that happened. We're here probably about 9:15 talking to this guy.
Then by the time we got over, it was almost 9:30, and all he could do for us was drive us out there, which then we would have missed half the tour. And then because he's like, it's going to charge you, period. And then I was like, well, I'm like, good Lord. I'm like, well, we're here. We didn't mean so I'm like, can we find another date? And he was like, well, if you can find it. And I mean,
yeah, he was like, you have to go into My Disney Experience and look.
He was
for
not
one.
helpful.
It's like,
so I hate to say it. Like,
okay,
it was through a credit card. I say we dispute
no charge
it.
has shown up yet.
Wow.
Because he's saying one, and again, this was our fault. This is my fault. 100%.
Was, but
and the rules are going to state you can't be late, and if you are, you're going to be charged anyway. 100% understand that. Not debating that, but a lot of times there are situations where they can be helpful in some manner, right. And he just wasn't helpful because, my whole thing was, look, we will book another time right now.
Right.
I understand that might not be today. It might not be tomorrow.
Right.
It might not be in the next week. If there's something in the next 60 days that we're allowed to look out, which is how far you can book, is available, we can tell you right now if that works or not.
Right.
And we have no problem paying for it when we come back. Is there any way we can do that? And then just no. And that's what I thought was just interesting, that there was no way of doing that, or there was no way of him just saying, you know what, I can make it so it's not going to charge for this. I get it. You guys were late. I'm sorry. Things do happen. We totally get it. You'll need to go back yourself and find another date.
Right.
On your own.
Correct.
But I'm going to make sure it does not charge you for today.
Right.
It could have been as simple as that.
I mean,
not,
because...
hey, you can go see half the tour because you're going to get charged anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was just like, no, I don't want to pay for half of an experience.
Right.
And my thought was, if they do charge us and I do need to go and say something to Disney or a credit card company, I have more pull by saying we didn't do it. You know what I mean? If I go back to Disney and say, hey, you guys charged us. I understand we were late. Here's the situation. We will happily do it again or schedule it again and pay for it.
Right.
Is there any way you can refund me? And they go, well, in our account, it says you still did half the tour.
Right.
You were given the option.
Course.
Then I have no way of getting the money back.
But I would have also been okay being charged, obviously.
Of course, at that time. So we'll see what happens. I did look at the credit card statements this morning, and it was not currently charged. So maybe it doesn't. I don't know. We'll see. We didn't get to do Caring for Giants.
We did not.
So we decided, so we're like, all right, we had Geo 82 at 12:35, which I now checked multiple times.
And you actually kept saying it was 12:20 something.
Hey, better to say it was earlier than later.
I understand that, but still, you were still, again, wrong.
So what has Jeremy learned? Jeremy has learned
I don't know.
Your OCD.
Well, not OCD, but
normal self, and check things 1,000 times.
Not 1,000 times, but like the night before.
That would be more
when you were on your phone and we were doing
proper.
Whatever to go, okay, well, we're going to go to bed. What time is it? Let's go to bed. Because look, we have Caring for Giants at, I thought it was 10. It's 9 a.m. in the morning. Then you have that plenty of time instead of at the bus stop at 8:50 getting on the bus going,
it's at 9.
It's at 9.
Looking back, probably wasn't the best time to check what time it was at, now that I'm being honest. But it's also one of those things where I think if I want to look back to is going back a couple years, and honestly, prior to getting sober, my brain was so much more fixated on time and what time everything was happening and where things were happening. Because most things revolved around where we were going to be able to go and sit for that meal or grab a drink or whatever it was. Now, I don't care. And part of that's really great, and then this is some of the negative part.
Right.
Part of it's great because I'm a lot more chill. I'm a lot less stressed.
Right.
I am a lot more like we have to do this at this time and be at this time. But this is one where it came back to bite me. So I'll now adjust moving forward, and we will say the evening of. Let's look at tomorrow's plans.
Yeah,
So,
like before
now we
bed,
know.
and
Right.
go. All right. So we have this at this time.
Yep. But much like Ross on Friends, pivot.
So this is like now obviously 9:30, and we're like, now what? And Jeremy was kind of like, whatever. And we started like just walking and talking, and I'm not sure how we got on Springs, but we did. And it wasn't, shockingly, it wasn't talk about Salt and Straw. It
wasn't.
It was literally, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, well, let's go there. And then it wasn't running buses until 10:30 from like parks to parks and stuff like that. So we just went straight to Saratoga Springs, where we learned on Main Street 16 with Liv, and get on Saratoga Springs bus, get off at Congress Park, and it is not an awful walk to Springs.
Right.
So by the time we were getting there, everything at 10 o'clock was opening, so we could go shopping and look for some things. We really didn't come out of there with really anything. We just kind of walked around, and
at this point we were killing time.
Yep, we did not get Salt and Straw because we were going to Geo 82, which is an EPCOT, and we're like, all right, let's go do this. So we just killed time. Yeah,
and so now, of course, you got to get from Springs to EPCOT, which you cannot do directly because there are no buses from Springs to parks,
but
and vice versa.
Very simple to go to EPCOT.
Yep. We just decided we're going to get on. You could do a yacht, beach, boardwalk.
They happen to
all
be
three of them
the
happen
bus.
to be the same bus.
Yeah.
So this is going to stop at yacht first, and then go on to beach, and then around to boardwalk. So again, we hopped on there to head to EPCOT. Left ourselves plenty of time. We did stop at Rose and Crown. Saw our friend Holly
and
Charlotte, who we had not seen. I got to say, it's been 2 years. They used to work together all the time. We had not seen Charlotte in a long time, but we had seen Holly, but it had been a little while since we saw her. So stopped in there, got a Heineken Zero to kill a little bit more time before we made our way over to Geo 82. Rhonda said, do you know where we're going? I said, no. And I would continue to have no idea where the entrance to Geo 82 is at. You found it, didn't you?
I did. So while we were walking up, they have taken the windows where you can see in, which is really cool.
So facing the new like gardens and all of that. Those are like blacked out, basically.
I guess. Yeah, it's crazy because I never noticed it until now. But so we're noticing it, and I'm like, well, then I wonder where the door would be. So it looked like a couple knew exactly kind of where they were going, and I was like, well, they're just like confidently walking back in to what looked like part of the exit for Spaceship Earth.
Yeah.
But also there was another exit. So I felt like I was like, So, and there was an umbrella that was not up or anything, and nobody standing outside. And I just was like, well, let's go in. So we were going in the exit of Spaceship Earth where all of the interaction things are. Yeah.
Yep.
And with all that being said, right to our left in this little hallway was the entrance to Geo 82.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool. It's hidden.
It was
kind of like a speakeasy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's a secret, and which is really because there's no outdoor signage.
Nope.
Like Rhonda said, there wasn't a.
Nope.
There wasn't a cast member out there under umbrella going, "Hey, Geo 82, do you have reservations?
Right.
Come on in." And now remembering back, because I was trying to figure out if this is the space that I did that D23 sipping whatever at, where we went in and made like the frushi, and we heard from the chefs for the festivals and food and wine, and then got a dessert party and all that stuff. I remember now going up this area in this stairwell and all. So it was the same space. But yeah, I really like how it's hidden. And
Yeah,
you go
'cause-
either up an elevator or a small circular stairwell until you reach the top, right?
Yep.
And you're greeted by cast members, and one of them has what for you?
Scented cooling hand
Yeah.
towels. Is that the right way to
Yeah,
say all
yeah,
that?
with like eucalyptus and lavender
Yeah,
and
smelled really good. It
Yeah.
was really cold, and like
Yeah.
I have sunscreen all over me, but I almost kind of wanted to wipe and like, oh, it was amazing. It was awesome. I wiped my hands, and then there's a trash can for those specifically, not for any other trash.
yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. And then you sit in this like space
It's a waiting
to
area.
wait
Yeah.
for, and then there's like a, what would you call that? Like almost like Space 220, the like archway. Would that be basically
Yeah,
what
it's
it's
like
called?
an archway.
So it's almost like, I felt like similar to Space 220, the archway going through when you go into the area. Did you agree?
No, I
Did you
agree with that
that?
completely. Once you go from the waiting room into the
Right.
actual bar
Yep.
lounge, yes, had
'Cause
a
it's
very
kinda like-
feel.
Like, yeah, it's
Up until this moment, and even as you're walking down there into the bar, yes, this has a very space feel.
yeah.
It feels like something that could be in a Tomorrowland over at Magic Kingdom, or over there in Space 220 and that type of area. The only thing that changes that is when you walk into the actual main bar lounge
It
area
opens up and
is
is
the
bright.
giant open windows to look out into Epcot, and it's
Beautiful.
bright, regular
Yep.
Florida sunshine.
Yep.
But other than that, if that was dark,
Yes.
you'd be like, yeah, we're in another space themed bar.
Yep.
Agree completely. What is the decor and the tones of everything here, pretty much?
Well, it's all Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, it's
very,
all the
like,
geo,
Yeah, that whatever.
triangular,
Yeah.
geometric,
Sure.
spheric,
Yep.
stuffy stuff.
But they are all gold tones.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because originally Spaceship Earth was supposed to be gold.
Can you imagine?
No, I cannot.
It would look so.
It would be weird. I'm glad that it's not, and I'm glad that they did something that was original, and you can make it smaller like that and do it in a space like this.
Yeah.
But-
use the gold in here and have it
It's
work
perfect.
because
Perfection.
it does. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't work
Work.
on a giant scale like this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the crazy part, though. Is think about this, and like with alternate universes or the butterfly effect type stuff. If they had built it as gold, we'd be sitting here going, "Yeah, everything in this thing is silver." They were originally going to make Spaceship Earth silver. How weird is that? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
gold, we would just think is normal, and we would never second guess it. Now, it's been for over 40 years.
But at the same time, I think we would have originally like looked and been like,
Originally,
ew, why
yes.
is it gold?
Yeah, I think when it first opened and the first time you see it, you'd be like, that seems like an odd choice, but you would just accept
after
it.
after the years, you
Yep.
wouldn't want it to change.
Right.
And then
Now you'd be
everything
going,
would
can
be
you
silver.
imagine
right.
it being
right.
anything other than gold?
Right.
That's so weird. But I love the space. It is,
Yes, it was really
is
cool.
very elegant.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I will say immediately is New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a space that was created to have like a New Year's Eve ball drop party every single night. That would have been over at Pleasure Island
Yeah.
with the golds and the shapes
Right.
and the glasses and the
Oh,
everything and
Talk
just,
about the glasses.
yeah. Well, it's everything. We'll talk about the glasses. It's what Disney does so well, which is making a space that is very fancy, but you don't have to be fancy.
Yeah. 100%.
And you're not going to feel out of place.
But if you are fancy, you're going to feel great.
yes, you're going to fit in.
Yep.
This is a place for everyone, I think, to fit in.
But only 21 and up.
Only 21 and up, which
Which is
I
crazy.
think is awesome.
I do too. And it was crazy because I don't think I realized it until you pointed it out. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't hear children, or I don't
Yeah.
see children on iPads.
Yep.
And then I was wondering why they were taking in front of us. They were younger people checking in.
Yeah.
And the cast member was asking for ID. And all of that like hit me like a wave. where I was like, oh, that's right. I think I do remember Jeremy saying this is unfortunately 21 and up. And I say unfortunately because, I mean, as everybody knows across Disney property, you know, I mean, even, what was it? We were waiting, that's what it was. We were waiting for dinner at, we're going to get to in a little bit, at Geyser Point. And
yes.
The cast member was talking to a family and was explaining the bar seats and said the kids are more than welcome up to be at the bar. So it's hard when you have almost a cross property.
It's the only space.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So
you know, I mean, you had Jelly Rolls that was 18 and
that's
plus.
Hard. Yep.
You know, so yes.
I feel like that's hard because when normal, like, you know, like you're a family and you want to go here and you've got your kids with you and you can't.
Yeah. That's
sad when across property kids can sit at bars all over.
Here's the only thing that I will say is good about it.
Oh, it's great.
Well, this place is made for locals and planners, because only locals and people who plan ahead will know that it's 21 plus.
Yeah.
And know right now you need to get a reservation, obviously 60 days out, right? They're going to know that. They're going to know that, hey, we're bringing children with us. We would like to experience this. Therefore, let's make plans for those children so that we can go as adults.
Right.
Yes, it's going to really stink for the people that are just there. They're walking around or they hear about it and they go, let's go do it. No, we have kids. We have nothing to do with them.
Right.
That stinks. So, yeah. But, yeah, they are going to card you right there at the front door there. Where they're not going to card us. I mean.
Which was just a little sad.
They looked at me and was like, dude, you're the youngest 43 at best. So don't even bring your card out. The beard's not doing you any favors. So
it's just all great. That's all.
Yeah, I wasn't even, let's see, how old was I in my photo? I was like 23, I think, in my license. That's the thing. So in my license, I look like I need to be carded, but I don't in my face. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I really love the space. I think everything in here is just beautiful. Down to Sean, our waiter.
Oh, he was beautiful.
He was a very handsome man. Beautiful eyes.
Yes, he had
the look of who was the guy that was in Grey's Anatomy and then was Tobert in
oh God,
Only Murders in the Building.
Jackson is his name in Grey's Anatomy. I don't know his real life.
Yeah.
But
and
yes.
then Tobert in Only Murders in the Building. He had that look and vibe and those
he did.
eyes.
Yes,
and
he did.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He was almost a little better looking than Jackson. He was shorter too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously just as fabulous as can be.
Oh, wonderful.
Brought us some waters.
Yes. And so we pick up these glasses and they're glasses and they are as thin rimmed as anything both Jeremy and I felt like so fancy and like, oh my gosh, we're gonna break one of these. I was afraid to pick them.
I wanted to pick. I picked it up with like two hands. Like I cupped it like a goblet because I'm like I'm afraid this is going to.
It was very
crack.
Very fragile.
Yeah,
very.
I'm afraid almost to drink. Out of it.
Yeah. So while we were in the waiting room, speaking of like glasses, and like he saw the glasses that were I guess they apparently are selling them. Is that?
Yes, the rocks glasses. So you can buy rocks glasses, and they're going to have champagne glasses, I believe, that have the etched GO82 that you can purchase. From my understanding, they were not available on opening day the way that everybody had thought they were going to be, because they're a special one, I think, different than the ones in the restaurant.
Well, anyways, it was in this box case, and this guy saw him and starts telling the the cast member about to leave, oh, seeing these glasses, there was a tiny crack in mine. I just want you to know. And they like kind of freak out, but like, was everything okay? He's like, yes, everything was fine. It didn't affect the drink at all. So he's explained, he goes, I just wanted somebody to know. Well, it was funny because these were so fine. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, I wonder if this is one of the guys that was talking. And as I'm kind of inspecting my glass, I see that there is a crack in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I felt it. and with my nail. And I mean, it was so like, and it was on the opposite side I was even drinking from. But I did let him know when he came around, and he took it away, and he was laughing because he was like,
because he was even like, we were all thinking, what are you going to do with these? Like, there's no way these glasses last.
Right.
Like that, your glass probably cracked because like there was a breeze. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Serious. They're so thin.
You might be the only person who will know this comparison because you're the only person that I've ever heard speak of this brand. And we are the only folks that own it that I know of. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Waterford Crystal?
Is the Princess House.
The Princess House.
Stuff that we own. Yeah. Those glasses that you have
were.
are this thin. Like, I'm afraid to even look at them.
And I don't know how people wash them because, like, if they're putting these through dishwashers and stuff, like, I don't understand it because...
You'd be better off just to throw these in the garbage and just pull out brand new ones. Like, just use it as a disposable.
I wash my Princess House with the gentlest of hands. I don't allow Jeremy to.
Yeah, you have to wipe them off
we
with
also
like a baby's
do have
diaper.
Water. We do have Waterford Crystal, I believe, from my mommy.
Yeah.
And that's very, very thin too.
Yes.
So again, I'm like, nobody else touch them. I'm washing them. So I don't know how these are made, and I don't know how they're going to last.
We'll see. Yeah. But this is going to be I'll tell you right now, this is going to be a wonderful spot for drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
It is. This is going to be, a year and a half ago, walking in here, this would have been like, all right, within the next 3 months, most of the bartenders and cast members in here will know our names.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be in here every time we come to EPCOT.
Correct.
I will, every 60 days out, I will just be booking to come here.
Correct.
Is the type of place this is.
Yes.
Their featured cocktail menu, there are a ton of things that are unique here. One of the ones that brown butter old fashioned, which is funny enough because we have our friend Chris who developed one of these. And it was
Chuck. You're gonna have to tell us all about
Chuck
him
will definitely have to check this
he'll
out.
have that, and then Sean also told us about the Bourbon Flight.
Yes, there is a Bourbon Flight with bourbons you can only get there at GO82.
Yep.
They've got like Brulee Banana Highball. There's a lot of whiskey heavy drinks, which is cool. About half of their main featured. And then just stuff like a peach shrub whiskey smash, caramelized leek martini, a strawberry black pepper sour. So they're really doing inventive things and making this, like you said, the entrance feels like a speakeasy. So do the cocktails, with that elegant, fancy,
another glass will be different.
There's even a menu in the front. If
Yep.
you've ever been to a speakeasy, I'm thinking of Ice Plant.
Yeah.
Down in St. Augustine here, you'll have a menu the same way that you might go to an Italian restaurant or Mexican restaurant. And that first page is like quesadilla, tortilla with meat and, cheese melted. And it has like basically like a key. That's what this has. So the first page is, here's the type of glasses and the drinks they're associated with. Here's the type of ice you may get. Here's the type of maybe bitters or herbs or whatever it may be. So very, very cool. They do have 2 0-proof mocktail cocktails, whatever you want to call them on here, which we were very thankful to see.
Yes.
And so we got those. I'll talk about the one I ordered first. A Walk Through the Garden. This is Seed Lip is the brand that we're seeing all over property, all over the U.S. now. We're seeing it in some local liquor stores and stuff. This is 0-proof spirit. So this is Seed and Garden 108 non-alcoholic spirit, basil, fennel, lemon, Helicocktail Company orange bitters, the Bitter Truth celery bitters, and bubbles for $17. I don't think I mentioned it. All the other drinks and the cocktails are in a battle royale with Enchanted Rose to see who can be most expensive, by the way.
Yeah.
I believe the cheapest cocktail is $25.
Well, your Bourbon Flight is $49,
which is a great price, is the funny part.
Yeah.
Right? But everything else is like $25 to $30 or something.
Yep.
A Walk Through the Garden. This was a good idea in theory. It's a good idea on paper. This was really disappointing. It wasn't bad.
I thought it was good. It's refreshing. It's great.
It is refreshing. It is tasty. It is not what, John will say. Did you get what they promised you in the menu? I don't feel I got that because I didn't get basil. I didn't get fennel. I didn't get any kind of bitters. The only thing I really got was bubbles and probably some orange or citrus.
Lemon.
Yeah, lemon. So to me, it tasted a lot more like you'll go to many of the bars and under non-alcoholic beverages, which are really geared towards children, will be like Sprite with lemonade. That's what this tasted like. Mm-hmm. It was pretty. It served in kind of a highball, pretty glass. The idea was great. I'd get it again. It just wasn't, when I talk about going, well, there's certain pizza that just kind of feeds my pizza need or ice cream. There's certain things that feed my zero proof cocktail need. This didn't do it.
Okay.
Yours, however, was what?
Mine was Manhattan in the morning. So this is Seedlip Spice 94 non-alcoholic spirit. Joffrey's Coffee Cold Brew. Maple Verjus Blanc. Tart Cherry Fee Brothers Black Walnut Bitters for $17. And this was in a cute little tiny
Manhattan glass.
Yeah.
I think they might call them a coupe glass.
Okay.
I believe is the way it is, but yeah.
Good. Cool. And that's what we got I got, and it was really, really good. And it was good that you could feel like you could drink the whole thing, but like it was so little, you're like, oh, I could get drunk off this. So you're like, just sip it. You
take your time sipping.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah. Another thing we didn't mention, this like Oga's Cantina, not only do you need a reservation, 45-minute max and 2 max drink per person is supposed to be. But nothing was said.
Nothing was
said. No, it was not.
To us at all.
No, it was not, but supposed to be. I really liked yours as somebody that, would drink Manhattans back in the day. I thought this looked like, felt like everything like a real cocktail. I'd go back for this.
Okay.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about some of the food. We did get 2 of their dishes. These are small plates, basically. First up, we got the chef's selection of artisanal cheeses, cured meats, and accompaniments for $29. And then we got the jumbo lump crab gâteau for $25. This is smoked cheddar, pickled mustard seed, lemon vinaigrette, and supreme caviar. Let's talk about the crab gâteau first. So it's not a gâteau. A gâteau is like a layered cake, French cake. This wasn't done in that manner. To me, this could have been more. I think you could have called it a cake or a tart or a stack.
A stack. I wouldn't say a tart because that comes with the
usually a shell, like inside of a shell, and it didn't have that. A stack.
Yeah.
Let's say that, but very a pressed stack.
Yeah, but there was something like on the outside that was real thin. I felt like almost like a
skin.
Like a yeah.
So did ask.
There was, right, like Jeremy read,
Sean.
and as Jeremy read and said, there is pickled mustard seed lemon vinaigrette. I looked at him and was like, "Am I able to get that on the side because that's going to determine whether my husband eats it or not?" And he said yes. So we put that on the side. I personally liked this.
The vinaigrette.
All of it.
Okay.
The whole thing. It was
second
warm.
forte into caviar.
It was warm, which I think I was not expecting. But I thought it was good, and I tried it with the caviar. It was fine. Like I wasn't like, oh God, but I wasn't wanting to eat the caviar by itself because it is so salty. But then I also kind of like didn't really eat anymore after I had the whole bite with it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And I would probably get it again. You, on the other hand, it wasn't your favorite, correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what to say about it because I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. Or I didn't love it. I didn't dislike it. I didn't like it. It's
not like you want to get it again, but would you?
I would not be the leader of the ordering and include this with a group of people.
Okay.
If I was with a group of people and somebody else ordered it and we're passing it around, I'd have a bite.
Okay.
It does have some good crab flavor, but I don't know. It's kind of one of those dishes that I say this a lot. It just didn't know its identity.
Yeah.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did try a bite with the caviar. Caviar is disgusting and foul, and I don't believe that anyone actually likes it. I think they say it to sound cool.
You think I said it to sound cool?
I think you did.
No.
It is gross.
It gives a saltiness to it, and if you eat it in a proper manner, in my opinion, with other things, I'm not going to eat caviar by itself. It's gross. But it can, I mean, that's like putting salt on butter. I mean, that's like putting stuff like...
It's nothing like putting salt on butter.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, maybe if that butter tasted like dead fish and had the texture of eating Orbeez.
Okay.
Like,
anyways, let's move on to the art.
If you don't like popping boba...
No, I don't.
This is popping fish.
But you don't realize it because it's A, so small, and B, you're eating it with other things.
Oh, I realized it, my love. Those things shot ill. It was, I did not care. But, no, but once I ate just the part, like, again, it's one of those, you kind of eat it, and you're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really love it. And then you take another bite, and you're like, it's not bad. And then, like, a couple minutes later, you take another bite, and you're like, I just don't know what I think. It's one of those dishes for me. Now, the charcuterie, on the other hand.
That was fantastic. It had honeycomb, blue cheese, a lot of different meats.
No dead squirrels. Wet rats.
None that looked like that.
None of those, which was...
I thought everything was fantastic.
A+ right away. Yeah.
Yep.
This was, this is the best charcuterie on property. Sorry.
I would, okay.
I think,
there you go, guys.
I'd have to go do Brown Derby Lounge again. That was the first one we ever went, and they had honeycomb on it. Honeycomb is amazing. What was I doing? I had the cranberry. Oh, they have a cranberry toast that I would put honeycomb in the blue cheese on, and they could just bring that out, and it would be outstanding. I loved it. Definitely go here for the charcuterie. Go here for the Manhattan in the morning. So overall, then, what are your recommendations with us no longer being drinkers? This is a place for drinkers, like we said.
It is. I mean, it's sad because I wouldn't come here unless I was with friends like Chuck and Amy and what's her faces we're going with
Lucy and Caleb.
Thank
when
you.
we go with them.
I can't name anybody. But I mean, anybody that wants to come have a drink here and we're with them, I would love to.
Yeah.
And sit and have the non-alcoholic, and then
do you see just
enjoy
you and I going?
I mean, not a lot, especially after what we already have. I see us going again, and maybe having something again, but unfortunately not all the time.
Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. I agree completely.
So
yeah.
And especially it's expensive.
It is.
I mean, again, it's $17 for each of us. Jeremy said $29
and
for
$25 or something, I think. So yeah, before tip, it's $100, right?
4 things that we got. Just 4 things was $100.
Yeah. So it's and I'll put it up there again with a Space 220. So here, Space 220, Enchanted Rose. I think all 3 of those are places now that prior to me getting sober were our go-to type of places. And let's be honest, it didn't matter that they were expensive.
Oh, right.
I mean, we just did it anyway.
Right.
But now I think those are the places, like you said, I want to go with groups of people. It's not just going to be me and you anymore because of what their focus for us always was and probably will be.
Yeah.
So after this, we'll go over real quick. They now have, with the summers, this summer fun and the cool kids summer, they've taken over basically Communicore Hall and Communicore Plaza.
That was cute.
Goofy has. What'd you think of the indoor area there in Communicore Hall? It's turned into a giant Goofy playground, right? For kids.
For children.
Yeah.
And young children.
Yes, young children.
I thought it was outstanding.
Yeah.
Great for little kids to run around inside in the AC. Great for parents to kind of hang out and sit for a little bit in the coolness because it is hot, and I think it is going to be a very hot summer.
It's going to be a bad one.
So we'll see, but this is great. And
Yeah.
then at the place,
it's gonna normally it's festival favorites. They're now calling it Goof and Go. I think.
Yep.
Right. Goof
there
and Go.
I was
or
what
grab
is it?
and goof. Goof and grab. Don't do that. That doesn't sound good. Please don't goof and grab at Epcot or grab and goof. Don't goof. Don't do anything with goofy and grabbing. You can, however, go to this stand, which is presenting food that is marketed towards children of the younger demographic.
So you have there's 3 things on the menu that
I don't have one printed out for
we
us.
didn't get the macaroni bites. I believe they had those.
They did. Yep.
But we did get, so there is a pepperoni pizza ravioli with Parmesan and marinara for $6. There's a cookies and cream ravioli made with sandwich cookie crusted chocolate cream topped with ganache and vanilla cream for $5.50. And then there's a Goofy's Gone Fishing blue raspberry lemonade with strawberry boba pearls and your choice of fish or shark gummy candy for $6.50.
Hey, Italy called.
Okay.
It wants its recipe book back.
Okay.
I just came to me and I was proud of it.
Funny. Good job, honey.
Thank you.
Yes, this is this pepperoni pizza ravioli. I would save your money for here for an adult and go over to Magic Kingdom at the pizza roll cart and get your pepperoni pizza.
Your egg rolls
spring
there.
Roll.
Yeah, spring rolls.
Yes.
Yep. So much better.
But if you have children and they're like, I want some pizza ravioli, they would like this and it would be great for them.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it would be. They're basically like if you made, is it Totino's? If you made Totino's pizza bites, not good. Here's the problem. But to be honest, that's what the inside is like. The inside is that mixture of like a pepperoni, maybe a little sausage, and it's like a cheesy marinara sauce. Everything's like a sauce, and it's fine. The problem with these is the ravioli. The filling in one of these is probably more when it goes in to the fryer. You know what I mean? And it's probably solid.
Yes.
When it comes out and it's liquefied, there's barely anything in these.
Right.
And then the edges of these raviolis just got super crisp, almost back to the point where it tasted like just eating, biting into raw dry pasta.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
So, but for kids, honestly, this is something the kids love.
Yeah.
And I think kids will really enjoy this.
It was not filled as much as then the cookies and cream ravioli was.
Right.
Like it was packed. And then reading this, so I guess they crushed down the sandwich cookies, which is, Oreos.
Yeah.
And it made a paste and they stuffed it and it actually was all in there because it was filled. And it was great. I kind of thought and then you just had to use a lot of vanilla cream.
Yeah, otherwise it was a bit dry.
It was it was very chocolatey, chocolatey.
Yeah, because it was almost like a tiny piece of fudge in the middle. I do think this was better, but I think as a whole, both of these tasted exactly like something you'll get from Italy at one of the festivals.
And I would agree with that.
Yeah, but
and it's not
also $6 and $5.50 is cheap as all get out.
Right.
By theme park, by anybody's standards anymore. And when you need to get your kid happy,
100%.
and maybe you forgot to have the goldfish packed, or they already ate them all, or let's be honest, I already ate them all. $6, $5.50. This is a great thing to grab real quick and make everybody happy.
And the Goofy's Gone Fishing, like it was great. The blue raspberries lemonade slushy. It was a slushy, so it was frozen. And then ours, they did not ask if we want fish or sharks. There was fish and sharks in it.
Yeah, we got the whole ocean.
Yep. It's blue too. It's super pretty. Yep. It's super cute.
Yeah. It came in more of a regular cup though. I was hoping the picture had it in a small like fish bowl.
Right.
I wish it had come in that, and I wish that it was a keepsake. Well, obviously I wish that. You're so thankful that it wasn't.
I am so thankful that it wasn't.
If you have ever had I can't remember if they actually call it the Sully blue raspberry slushy over at Cosmic Rays, this is basically like that. So it's very, very good. All right. Next up, we went back to the campground after all this and hung out a bit. We went to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
You and I went there for a little bit, watched them play some games and all. But man, I know we talked about Fort Wilderness already earlier, but there's such a just vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it there. And same at the
fun.
pool. Just something good about it. We got soft serve ice cream.
We did, yes.
That was delicious.
Yes, I was like, "Do you want an ice cream sandwich?" Because that's what I thought. But then by the time we got up there, a kid was ordering, and it was a waffle cone, and this was fantastic because it was a nice crispy waffle cone with that nice, amazing vanilla soft
just
serve.
good old soft serve.
It was great.
So we went back. We were hanging at the campground for a little bit because we wanted. It had been since February since we headed down to Fort Lauderdale and saw our good friend Landon in the play parade. Landon and Jessica vacation grocery delivery. So I hit them up and was like, "Hey, will you guys be around? You can come. We can either hang out at the campground. We can figure out something for dinner." So they came on over. Caught up with them a little bit, and then looked like some weather was going to come through again. So
yeah, that was crazy because it wasn't going to be any rain, but around us was major lightning. So
they're going to close down again. We're thinking potentially the campfire and all that stuff. So we're like, well, we're probably not going to do that. Our options are Crockett's and Trails End if we stay at Fort Wilderness. You know, I think they lost a lot by Trails End going from the sit down. I know it was a buffet, but going from that sit down buffet to this quick service. Now what we get. Oh, speaking of which, let's talk about real quick the new DVC resort tower that is going in next to Fort Wilderness. We got to see it going up.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Like you pull up to the Hoop-de-Doo review or the Trails End, all that building, and I mean, it's kind of like a pop-up hi behind it. Like it is just crazy, like right there. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be close.
Beach is all gone.
That close, yeah.
It's super close. Like I feel like if I'd have picked up a stone and threw it, I'd have hit it.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Riviera to Caribbean Beach close. It is Poly Tower to Poly close. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks like when you're looking at Pioneer Hall and Hoop-de-Doo and all that, like you said, it looks like if you walk out the back of there, you're, what?
I think you are.
50 feet and you're at the building. Like, it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think they lost a lot by getting rid of the least sit-down Trails End. We'll see what the new resort brings food-wise, all of that, how collectively this all feels together. But instead, I said, hey, we could head on over to Geyser Point, Wilderness Lodge.
Yep.
They have had some menu changes that we had not gotten around to. But also, I did not realize, even though we talked about this a while back.
Yes.
And weren't sure when it was going to happen. I never saw that it happened, was that they were going to turn into more of a sit-down restaurant. They were going to get rid of the lounge areas and replace it all with regular tables and chairs. That's occurred.
So we went up there and there was a guy, cast member standing at a desk that you walked up and we were like, because Jeremy's like, should I join the walk-up list? But it didn't seem crazy and it seemed fine that we said something to him. And he's like, yeah, you got like 5 minutes. That 5 minutes was truly about 15, which is still fine.
Yeah.
But I think that what is that saying? Like over deliver, under promise, or over promise,
over promise,
whatever.
under deliver.
Yeah.
No, under deliver, over promise. Oh my God.
I don't know. Either
under
way.
Promise, over deliver.
Just being him saying 5 minutes and it was 15. If he would have said 15 and then I would have been 5, that's what would have been better.
Yeah.
Whereas, because I'm like thinking, oh gosh, did they forget about us? And we didn't move because we were standing right there because we thought that it was going to be 5 minutes. But it was fine. And we had a nice table that was, overlooking the water, like closest to, and
Yeah, but all little lounge areas gone.
Yep.
All just table, seated, and then the bar and all still. So I don't care for it as much.
Really?
But let's talk about the food.
Yeah.
Because if the atmosphere is still awesome, which it is, if the service is still great, which it was, and then the food is still good, which let's find out, then they can do whatever they want here. I can stand if they need me to, right?
Okay.
And ride a horse through here.
Okay.
All right. So let's eat.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about what we got? They have
So they
dual. I
have-
got no duels.
Yeah, and they also have, I guess, shareables basically. So they have a Chipotle barbecue bison meatball, and this is goat cheese, polenta, and onion straws for $16. They have what's called macaroni and cheese bites, which is plant-based, cheesy bites, tomato, and peppers for $11, which I'm not sure why it says it on this printed menu, because at the restaurant it did say a smoked Gouda cheese and like tomatoes and peppers, and it did have the cheese. Yes, it did.
Okay, it did on that
Because-
one, and we're not
yes.
getting it confused with the next one, which does have a smoked Gouda beer cheese.
No,
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure it said smoked.
Okay,
Like, 'cause
I think you're right as well. I'm just looking at it now in front of us, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't confused. But I think you are correct.
Did you
and
take
we
a
are
picture
correct.
of the menu?
I did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Anyway.
The next thing was a charcuterie flatbread, which we had out at the Grand Flirty. Is that what,
At
what
the
it's called?
Grand Californian.
Grand Californian.
Yep, at Craftsman's
Yes.
Bar and Grill.
And so this one is a salami brisket, chorizo, bacon, smoked Gouda beer cheese for $17. We have had the bison burger. Landon got it.
Yep.
It was great as always.
Amazing as always.
Jess got the turkey BLT. This is black turkey pepper, candied bacon, avocado puree for $19. She liked it. It was a big
Yeah.
sandwich, so she ate half
Yep.
and then took the other half home.
And she did say it was different from last time, and this one had a little bit of a spice kick to it.
She did say that.
Yes.
She said she was fine, but it
Yeah.
was like,
But a note just for other folks,
Correct.
if you've had the old one, which
Correct.
was very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's start with the macaroni and cheese bites, because
Yes.
we didn't get those at Grab and
Goofy-
Goofy or
right.
whatever.
so I
did get 'em
wanted
here.
these,
Yeah, you did.
and I was excited for
Yeah.
them.
How do they look?
They looked great because they were these just balls
Yeah,
of fried.
bigger than golf ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But smaller than a softball, baseball maybe,
Tennis ball would probably be the next.
tennis.
Up.
Okay.
Have you seen a softball? Have you seen sports balls in a collection ever before?
Yes, you're gonna
Okay.
make me.
But you have to go from golf ball probably to tennis ball.
tennis ball.
As far as like pro sports go, like if you want to get serious, you could put ping pong,
a wiffle ball.
wiffle ball.
All right.
It's gonna be the same as a baseball.
Say that
Decent
it was
size,
a tennis
yeah.
size ball that was a decent size.
Yeah.
And I cut into it, crispy on the outside, warm on the inside, and creamy. Just, I don't know. I was like, I don't think the smokiness worked, because I was like, this is weird. And it is a creamy, like, I guess, white Gouda, like, and I don't think Gouda is meant to really maybe be like the only thing in mac and cheese.
Yeah, the predominant cheese
Correct.
flavor.
Like
in
if
this
you had
was.
like some Gouda and then some
Yeah.
like other
balance it with like a
cheese,
mozzarella and
that
cheddars
would,
and
right,
Americans
that would almost
and
hold it together a little
Yeah.
better and maybe make that taste a little better. It wasn't awful. I was like, I can't. I didn't love it. I was sad because
Yeah.
I wanted something really good like that.
yeah, I know. It's
I wonder if the Goof will have to get the one from Goof's place.
Yeah, from the Goof and
next
Grab
time.
or whatever it
Mhm.
is. I agree. Let's make sure we do that and see how it compares.
Yeah.
Because I was excited for these too. I used to make these,
Mm-hmm.
and fried mac and cheese is amazing when it's done right. But yeah, I think the predominant flavor, it's kind of like, you go to your friend's house who does barbecue, but then he does everything in the smoker. And you're just like, come on, man. Like, you don't have to, like, oh, you made potato salad. Cool. Yeah, put it in the smoker. All right. That's great. Like, what's for dessert?
everything.
I got key lime pie. Put it in the smoker. I just settle down. Man.
Right.
Like, you don't have to put everything in the smoker. You don't have to put mac and cheese in the smoker. That's what it tasted like. But I appreciated the effort because the outside and the crust and all compared to that gooey inside was awesome. Just too much Gouda.
Right.
wasn't Gouda enough.
Okay.
All right. How about the Chipotle barbecue bison meatballs? What size were these on your sport ball scale?
Golf?
Yeah, probably a little bit bigger than golf.
Yeah.
Not quite a basketball for your scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
These were really good. There was 3 of them.
4.
4. It was there. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for even numbers.
Yeah.
This is, where you want, we need an even number to split.
And it was on goat cheese polenta, and it was very good.
Ooh, that polenta was fabulous.
Yeah, I wish there was more polenta.
Yeah.
I think if next time I'd be like, can I get an extra side of polenta?
I wonder if you could just get it with the meal or
bet
as
you
a
could.
side.
I bet
I
you
would
could.
eat a bowl of this.
Yes.
An entire bowl.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was.
The bison meatballs were really good.
Yep.
Like, I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too barbecue saucy, which sometimes they are.
No. This was, if you are our age, I can pretty much guarantee that at some point growing up, your parents had a party, and either they or somebody else brought a crock pot filled with meatballs that had been put in a mixture of chili sauce and grape jelly. That's what these tasted like, that sauce, but just an elevated upscale level.
Yeah.
Delicious. I'd get these again.
Yeah.
Let's move on finally to the charcuterie flatbread.
That was really, really good. I don't want to compare it to Grand Californian because
They're very
it was
different.
so different.
They are.
But it was so good, and I really liked it, and I would 1,000% get this again.
Yeah.
I was just full by the time, and I was like, all right, I don't want any more. Plus, I wanted Landon to eat some, but he ate his whole bison burger, so
Yeah.
he didn't want it. So he's like, all right, so I let Jeremy eat it, but
I loved this more than anything recently that I've had. This was so good. I agree it's not comparable to the Craftsman because they're different the same way that I would say the Steakhouse 71 burger is different than the bison burger here.
Oh,
they
100%.
are different.
100%.
But for right now, in the next maybe several months, if you say, Jeremy, where do you want to go get flatbread, pizza / one or the other, I will want to go here and get this.
Okay.
I loved it, and I'm sorry, guys, if you listen. I'm probably not going to shut up about this one for a little while.
Yeah. It was
That's how
really
much I loved
good, though.
It was
It
so
was
good.
really, really
And
good.
Here's what I'll say.
Because there was also some, balsamic on it.
drizzle on
yeah,
it.
It was
like
good.
there might have been a little honey. This was a charcuterie pizza. I ate this and I thought of a charcuterie board. I loved the Craftsman one, and Lucy and I kind of had this conversation too. But eating it, if you said, what do you think we call this pizza? I would almost never guess charcuterie. I would say meat or something to do with deli, or, you know what I mean? I would have never said this is a charcuterie pizza.
Okay.
And I think if we go back to that one, I mentioned how maybe they needed something like a drizzle of a honey or a...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I said balsamic back then, but this is a charcuterie pizza. I thought it was outstanding.
Nice.
All right, we're going to close off. Almost, not
yeah,
yet,
we're gonna close
because
off
I forgot
this with
one
dessert.
almost. Oh, my goodness, yeah. Sorry, let me bring it up. I have it on the screen. Go for it.
So I was looking at their dessert and everything we had, but there was this thing called coffee and donuts creme brulee for $10. And I'm like, what? And so I look at him and I'm like, what is this coffee and donuts creme? And he was like, it's worded wrong. And I don't know if this is the same way it was worded. I don't know if
This is how it's worded on the menu.
It was.
Coffee and donuts creme brulee.
Okay.
No punctuation, nothing. Just
So-
coffee and donuts creme brulee.
So I'm like, is it coffee? So I was confused and I was like, and he goes, it's worded wrong. It's coffee creme brulee with donuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, what now? Yes, please. Thank you. I will totally have that.
We were going to get it if it was the other thing, too.
Well,
Let's
I
be
was
fair.
yeah, because I was curious. I was like,
Yeah.
so is it coffee and then there's donuts and these donuts are little creme brulees? What?
Yeah, I was thinking it would have somehow infused. The coffee makes sense. You can infuse coffee flavor.
But
I was thinking they'd have some
thinking-
sort of donut flavor infused.
No.
Think of what it tastes like if you took a glazed donut and you dip it in coffee, which is where the name Dunkin' Donuts came from, and ate it. I was thinking it'd be like that flavor.
I truly was thinking coffee and donut creme brulee. I thought it was coffee, and then these donuts that had like a topping on it.
The way that the churros were done out
Pretty
in
much.
DCA is creme brulee.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And that is what I thought. And when he said, no, it's all worded wrong. It is coffee creme brulee with donuts on the side. And
We
these
both
donuts.
said yes immediately,
Yes.
please.
And these donuts, they were 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they did have a topping on top. I'm not exactly 100% sure what it was. If it was like a
Yeah.
creme brulee topping, and they were a creamy, and they were so good. They were
so
like the little like
moist. I hate to say
yeah.
it, but
Well-
my goodness.
well, they were like the ones you get in a sleeve from your little Debbie.
Yes.
Like, and they were perfection.
But homemade.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
I'm
gosh.
assuming
they
they were homemade.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they could have not been, and then just made where then they topped it. It was still fantastic.
Yes. Oh, I love
And
that.
then it was coffee creme brulee,
Yeah.
where it had the very good sugar top, and you literally had to crack it, and the creme brulee coffee put almost a pudding type, like it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. I would love to get this again. I would go back, get the bison burger, get the french fries, and then get the
Get this.
coffee, creme brulee, and donuts.
Yeah, with
because that's
donuts.
what it was. Because
yeah, with donuts.
Right.
Almost not even and donuts, like
Right.
with donuts.
because
I
it was
think.
2 little donuts on the
Yeah.
side of this coffee creme brulee.
Yeah. It's going to be an episode of Best, because this is the best creme brulee I have had on property.
Okay,
And here's what I
it
love.
was good though.
This is creme brulee.
Okay,
This was creme brulee. Like, remember Steakhouse 71? That wasn't creme
it
brulee.
was still good.
It was still
I
good.
liked it.
Wasn't creme brulee. This was creme brulee.
You say it,
and it
wasn't,
was
but-
fabulous. It was the most perfect amount of coffee flavor. It had that little squiggly chocolate piece on top
Oh yeah, there was
that you
a
could
few
bite
things.
to go with
Yeah.
it to add texture. I loved how much you had to crack that
Yeah.
sugar topping.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next one, we forgot to say, what were we handed on the way out of GO82?
Oh yeah, I did
Just
forget that.
clicked in my head.
I'm glad because
Good job, Head.
Yeah, we were leaving, and as we were leaving,
I was
we were-
coming down the
we
stairs
were
with
seeing-
Rhonda saying something to
which
you.
when we were leaving again, we're passing these
Yeah.
glasses that are going to be for sale. And as we're walking down the stairs, Jeremy starts talking about these glasses and says about like them being for sale, but they didn't have them ready. So then they on day of opening, they were giving them away. And I was like, that's really cool. We come down the stairs and a nice cast member's standing there, and he's like, hi. And I was like, hey. And I'm thinking he's going to say, how was your, time?
Yeah. Get a
Just
little
normal,
feedback.
right?
Yep,
Just
little
a normal
survey.
whatever.
Yep.
But he doesn't, and he says, "Hey, this is just a little gift from us for visiting on opening." And he said opening weekend.
Yep.
And he each gave us one box glass that was, as you were walking up or in, that glass that I guess you can buy. And
Yeah, it's
we
a
were
rocks
like,
glass.
Yes, it was
But it's got
beautiful,
the
amazing.
GO82 logo etched in it.
Mm-hmm.
These are, they're gorgeous. I thought it was so cool. And I love that it was just, let's give it to everybody
Yeah.
that's coming out. Now, you're 21 plus, of course, so they probably fit. I mean, I would imagine that 99%, and maybe you could add some other point numbers on there, are going in there and having an alcoholic beverage. They're not like us doing non-alcoholic. I bet it's a very large percentage, obviously, they're getting that. And a lot of times that might, this would be the type of thing that comes with, I'm sure there's been a couple recently, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, but you can get this souvenir glass by buying this alcoholic beverage.
Right.
Cool. Can I buy just the glass?
No.
Can I buy the glass with a non-alcoholic beverage?
No.
You're like, dang, but like, I want the glass. I'm
Right.
sorry, I don't drink anymore. I want that glass. And so the fact that they're just, everybody gets one, I
Yeah,
thought
that
was
was
super
cool.
cool.
Yep.
So I did love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now Saturday morning, woke up.
I wanted to
and
go home.
Rhonda had not slept the best. When she got up, she let me know it fairly immediately.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're
apologized
fine.
multiple times.
Oh, you did. I don't blame you. Neither one of us slept very well. I laid there contently for some reason. I just laid there on my back and I wasn't sleeping, but it was a point where the air was just perfect and the fan was perfect and all of that. And I was just happy to be there. Right.
Well, that's good.
So you not so much. So when we got up, I said in my head, I'm not going to recommend a single thing. If Rhonda says, I want to go home, we'll pack up, we'll go home. If she says, do you want to go do this? We'll do it. Like, I'm up for anything.
Which was super
But I did
funny.
say, let's go get coffee.
Yeah. And then we were talking, like, because I can't remember what he said. And I was like, well, what do you want to do something? And then I was like, I want to go home. I had to work this morning, actually, and I forgot we had to record.
Yeah, on Sunday.
And yeah, so I'm like, this is Saturday. I'm like, I want to go home. I want to go home to the puppies because I'm feeling a little not good because of the young dog and having to leave it to Kaylin. And it's just, so anyways, with all this being said, I did say, well, I guess we don't have to get home immediately. So something was said about breakfast and he was like, well, I don't get excited about a breakfast. And I was like, I don't either. I was like, but let's think about this. And I was like, Topolino's or Boma, we have had that we were like, this breakfast is something to get excited about. And I hate to say it, that is probably one of the only two that we have had that were like, okay,
Agreed.
let's come back to this.
Yeah.
So I mentioned one of those and because he said, I don't get excited about breakfast either. I don't eat breakfast. So it's one of those things. If I did, I was like, well, this will be my meal for the day.
Right.
But it was funny because I was like, all right, well, let's see. And when I said it, he was like, okay. And he was like, I can get excited about Topolino's if there was a reservation.
Yeah, but I was like, you'll never get one.
So I look and not only was there 9 a.m., there was also 9:45. This was 8:30 or 8:35 or 8:40. And I was like, so we have a little over an hour. And then I got it. We were back at our site and we were already packed some up. And I looked at my watch and I was like, we have 1 solid hour now. And I was like, all right, we're good. We're good.
Pack up the entire camping car, everything site, get over to Riviera Park, get up there. But we made it there. Plenty of time to spare. Mm-hmm. We had not. We still forgot to double check with Rachel. I know the last time that we did.
You said 2021.
Topolino's breakfast was with Rachel, and I believe it was it was the weekend of our very first Main Street 16, which was April of 2021. Mm-hmm. And we did it on the day we arrived because I think that's right. Anyway, so I don't think we had done breakfast since then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got very excited about this one. So breakfast is 7:30 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. This is $52 per adult. And this is, it's a little bit different, I guess, than the other.
52. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
okay.
kids is 33, adults are 52.
I forgot. I was thinking 52 was after annual pass.
No, that is before. You can get like annual
10%.
pass, DVC, some of those 10% discount. But this is different than your standard family style or buffet. Mm-hmm. Because what you're going to do is get a communal pastries for the whole table.
Yep.
And then you're each going to order one entree off of the menu.
Yes.
That's what you're getting for your $52, as well as a non-alcoholic beverage, coffee, teas. They've got pog juice, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They do have alcoholic beverages for purchase. They've got a great list of cocktails, full bar. Get whatever you need for breakfast.
They also have a non-alcoholic.
They do. Yeah. So the one I went with was the pineapple jalapeno margarita. This is using that Seed Lip Garden 108 we were talking about earlier. Pineapple juice, lime, agave for $14.50. Big chunk of raw sliced jalapeno in there. Gives it a nice little kick. This tastes just like a jalapeno margarita. It was very good. Very refreshing. Mm-hmm. You're going to get what characters are going to come around as you dine up here for breakfast only?
Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, and Donald.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Donald was coming by the last one, and she's like, did you see him? And she was like, all right, well, he's going to do this, and then he's going to take a break, and then he'll be by. Well, unfortunately, after we were like all paid up and kind of ready to go. So we missed him. And I almost wanted to stay because even Rachel posted and was like, where's my Donald? And
we were
I
going
was
to
like,
stay just to get a photo to send her. But we were like, we're getting right in the car and heading home. Like, let's go ahead and get going. But I forgot. I mean, the last time I think we had even come up in here would have been June of 2023 when we came with Rob and Tina for Father's Day.
Yep.
And we took them on the most expensive restaurant tour.
Yes.
And we sat at the bar here.
Yes.
And I think it was the last time we got up here, so we didn't really sit in the main restaurant part. I kind of forgot what it was like in here. It's beautiful, but it's open.
Yeah.
It's that it can be elegant and fancy without being too elegant and fancy, and you feel okay in your park gear, which I do love. So let's talk about the pastries real quick. You get this cute little set.
Oh, it's
they
super
need to
cute.
sell these.
Yeah.
It's like what? A paint bucket, I guess, technically.
Yep.
And then 3 little dishes.
Hazelnut.
Yep.
Like
Strawberry jam.
Yep. And then a honey butter.
Yep. And then you have in the little bucket is a bunch of pastries.
Croissant.
Chocolate chip, muffin, a
apple turnover thing.
Yeah, little turnover.
Which was really good. And then a blueberry muffin.
Crumb cake
kind
of muffin thing. They're all really good.
Yeah.
They're, this is your bread, so you want to have some, but don't fill up on it because you do want to make do of the entree.
Correct.
Now, a couple of the entree options, eggs Benedict Florentine. They've got a wild mushroom scramble, a fruit plate. Don't order just that, please. They've got a quiche Gruyere, avocado and smoked salmon toast. You can get 2 eggs any style. They have the extremely famous and absolutely delicious sour cream waffle. What did we get? And then with some of these, we decided not to get any kind of sides. Some of these, depending on the dish that you get, and you can talk to your server, you can get a side. So that you can get an entree and then get a sour cream waffle side.
Okay.
They're just going to bring you a much smaller portion. If you remember when you first started, and this was never their rule to just all you could eat, order what you wanted, it just kind of happened when they first opened.
Right.
Because you used to be able to go and say, I'll take these 3 entrees. It was like being on a cruise.
Right.
And then they really kind of shut that down. Now it's much more strict, but there is some leeway with the way that some of that works.
Right.
So let's start with what you got. We had never had this one before.
Yeah, so I wanted to get something different because, first of all, it's been a long time, but and this sounded good. I got the French toast, which it's French toast bread pudding, seasonal compote, lavender maple syrup, lemon mascarpone, and choice of smoked bacon, ham, sausage, or plant-based sausage. I got sausage, and then when I told her that's what I wanted, she literally was like, it is very dense. It is like a bread pudding. And I said, I love bread pudding.
Yeah.
She was like, perfect. So these are 3 smaller slices, which again, it is dense and heavy. I thought it was fantastic. I ate a whole one, and then I'm trying to remember if I ate almost half the other one, but I left one because I was full, and we were also driving home, and I didn't want to be stuffed. So I loved it, though. It was great. The seasonal compote was this blueberry, which was really good.
Yeah.
I loved the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a really interesting take on a French toast.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Food Network and diners, drive-ins, and dives. I've seen them do a lot of things with French toast.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen them do a bread pudding French toast. So, yeah, I thought it was delicious. I will say, we always talk about this type of thing. All right, what's the price of characters?
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
For us, our price of characters isn't really anything. We don't do these for the characters. They're there and we enjoy it and it's part of that entertainment value.
100%.
We're usually going for location, food, overall experience, and what that all entails. So for that, I think the size of this dish for $52 is kind of dang, that's a lot of money for a little food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think for the average family that might be going, You know, that family next to us, the mom and the dad and the two little boys, the young boys.
That was super cute.
Honestly, it doesn't matter if they brought out a plate of food with one grape in the center. That's going to be worth the price of that $33 for each of those kids.
Right.
Because of their interactions with the characters. Yep. So you got to think of things like that. So I went with the wood-fired steak and eggs, which is the only thing I've ever had here now in the 2 times that we've been. So
you had it the first time?
I did. But hey, it was 4 years ago. I think it was time for an update, right? So this is polenta, pomodoraccio tomatoes, roasted potatoes, wild mushroom conserva, choice of 2 eggs, any style. I went with my steak at medium rare. I went with my eggs at over easy. Everything came out. Steak cooked perfect. Eggs cooked perfect. Potatoes were cooked perfect. I just scooped the mushrooms off just because I don't want them personally. Mm-hmm. I love this dish. I think.
Oh, here we go, guys.
Kidding, this is the best plate of breakfast food on property. It is. It's the best plate of breakfast food on property. Okay. I don't think, in my opinion, there's anything else on property that you can order or plate that you can assemble at a buffet or family style that is better than this plate of food. The steak on its own, with really the polenta, is the most perfect dinner dish. This whole thing eats like a dinner. If you just said, man, maybe we remove the eggs.
Because it had potatoes.
Yeah, it had potatoes. Yeah, and they're like those little roasted potatoes, but then I think they flash fry them at the end and give them just the tiniest of smash. They've got a thick salt, crushed salt on the outside. Yeah, eggs are super delicious. The only thing I think is weird is your choices of toast are white or wheat. I chose white, and it is just like Wonder Bread. I'm just surprised that's not I don't know, maybe you could even get a baguette. Or you could at least get a sourdough or something. Mm-hmm. It's my only gripe with this whole plate. Not only do I think it is the best breakfast dish on property, it might be top 3 best dishes on property for any meal, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I'm trying to round it out. I know up there off the top of my head would be the surf and turf from Tiffin's.
Yeah.
And then probably the filet for dinner here, or the filet over at Flying Fish. But...
And of course, there's no dessert.
No. But here's we go back and talk about $52. If
yours was a bigger
oh my gosh,
portion.
If they had come out and said, "I'm sorry, there's going to be absolutely no characters at all, but we're going to charge you the exact same amount of money," I'd have been like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have felt ripped off at all.
Yeah.
Yours would have been like, "Wait, we just paid $52 for 3 triangles."
Still good though.
It was very good, but the amount, the value. But for my dish, yeah, if you walked in here, you'd pay $52 for this easy. Mm-hmm. Probably on a dinner menu, this is a $65 steak, and all you're going to get with it is the polenta, not even the other stuff. So, highly recommend Topolino's after all these years. After 6 years of it being open, we still love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm very glad to see.
Yes,
I think it's been.
We need to do dinner again.
Yeah, I think it's been the most consistent restaurant for us over all these years.
Yeah,
maybe along with a Three Bridges.
Yeah, probably.
So that is it. If you want to, of course, hear about more adventures coming up, not sleeping in our car again anytime soon. But we do have a lot of fun stuff coming up. Go ahead and hit subscribe. You can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And then, of course, both Rhonda and myself, we would be very, very thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.